Ratchet and Clank going Commando walkthrough. So while the last video on this planet I don't believe was actually necessary to continue on in the main story, this is the part of the world that is necessary to continue on in the main story. And as a result, it is significantly harder. You get these guys that will shoot at you a couple of times before they aim and try to shoot at you again. Luckily, at the first part of this level, you get this indestructible cover that you can use to take out a bunch of the enemies, and then you'll need to come on up, step on this button, and take out these other enemies. So I got shot there. As you see, he does 9 damage, which is not fun. And you're going to be dealing with these guys for the rest of the level, so you may as well get used to it. Now, they're a little bit easier than the previous gunmen because they shoot once and then they take a second to reload their weapon, but they shoot very quickly and it's pretty easy to forget that they're shooting at you, as it has, which is what happened to me twice right there, and take a lot of unnecessary damage. Now, I still think I managed to make it through, so that is kind of nice, and I end up blasting the Seeker in here because they were just not wanting to die to my blade gun. And then I can get some of the health that's sitting in the background, even though it's not nearly enough to keep me alive in case I get hit again by one of those guys. It's also at this point where we start wishing that we had armor, and we will start upgrading our armor pretty soon, but first we're just going to have to deal with some of these tougher enemies. And if you're ever having a really hard time, you can always go back to the Coliseum and try to get a couple of nanotech upgrades. And the thing is, one nanotech upgrade probably isn't going to do you a whole lot of good. You usually need 4 or so before you can actually get significant life improvement when it comes to fighting some of these enemies. And for these guys, I wanted to use the Sheepinator on them, so I start using that a little bit. But I was having a hard time locking onto a few of them for some reason, and I guess the tree was just blocking them. But anyway, the Sheepinator's good because it's nearly an instant kill and it saves some ammo, but then again, so is your Ratchet. But the Sheepinator puts you at a little bit more distance between yourself and the enemy, while your Ratchet does not. Or I guess it's your wrench. I guess they call it your wrench in this game. And then there's going to be more of these enemies over here, so these enemies normally take about 2 hits to die, but with your Ratchet they should take not that many. And then this guy, I guess that guy only did about, what was that, 6 damage, so that was kind of nice, but messed up there. Now I have only 2 health left, which is even worse than what I had before, because now if anything hits me once, I'm pretty much dead for sure. And I had already died doing this part already, and there's going to be even another part, which luckily there's a checkpoint, there's going to be another part, which is just going to be so extremely aggravatingly long and annoying that I died. I think I died 3 or 4 times doing it, but anyway, it's once we run into the ammo vendor, and there is nanotech up here on top of this fountain, which is an odd spot, but anyway, once we reach the ammo vendor, we'll be able to return to our ship. So if you find you're having a particularly difficult time with this, you'll be best off probably going back and going through the forest to collect those, the desert to collect those crystals if you haven't finished all those crystal collecting mini quest yet, and you can get some extra bolts to buy some armor, or just hope that you have enough bolts at this point to get some armor. So I think the cheapest armor upgrade is going to be about 250,000. At least that'll be the cheapest significant armor upgrade. Now the best armor, which I don't think we can buy right away, maybe we can, is going to be 1,000,000 bolts, and there's going to be a way that we can get. I think I already uploaded a video on how to get bolts pretty quickly. So maybe not though. I'll figure that out when I upload these. But anyway, there's a way to get bolts quickly when you're not in challenge mode, and obviously beating the game first is going to be one of the better ways, just so you can get challenge mode. But most of the time, people want to get bolts before they beat the game because that's what they're having the problem with. It's not so much like, oh, beat the game and then you can get all these bolts. After I beat the game, I don't really want to play it anymore. I have no interest in the challenge mode, so you know, whatever. Anyway, this was the part where I died a bunch because I just was having a hard time dealing with all the enemies and shooting them, and I finally just decided to use the Seeker gun a bunch. And once you finally take them all out, you can jump on down here, and you'll see these guys playing rock, paper, scissors. So if you spam them with your gun, you should be able to take out those first 2 guys right away. Now you should start leveling up pretty frequently at this point in the game, and that's really nice for keeping your health up, because in this game when you level up you get all your health back, and if you're close enough to an enemy I think it insta-kills them, or it may just do a lot of damage to them. And that guy I thought was dead because they just take so much damage now, and at least compared to earlier enemies. So that guy I thought was dead and he hit me anyway, and then it's gonna happen all over again here. But when you think they're dead, they're not actually dead, and of course just keep moving. never stop moving, and you shouldn't have too hard of a time taking them out. And you can see all the health in the background taunting you. You can't really reach it yet, but I think it only gives you 3 health anyway, because they're only in the single health canisters. So it looks like a lot of health, but it's not. And then you get blindsided by these guys. Yay! This game's just really, really good at making you think you're done, and then no, you're not. So again, I'm going to use the Seeker to demolish part of their base there, part of their cover, and then take them out if I can do that instead. And that's best just by jumping and firing it as you're jumping, and then hoping that the Seeker will do the rest, as it seems to have worked out there. And then you can get some of that health. Once again, it's just 3, so it doesn't really help a whole lot, but I don't know, maybe having that 1 extra hit before you die is worth it. So then I just spammed the Seeker gun on the way into there, and that seemed to do a pretty good job taking out these guys. But of course, extras are going to be walking on in from the sides, and I think that was most of them. So at this point I am getting pretty paranoid, because I've taken way too much damage for what I consider to be pretty dumb reasons, but also I probably just suck at this game, so it doesn't really matter. And I found that the first trilogy of Ratchet and Clank is actually harder than the newer trilogy, because I've mentioned this before, but the first Ratchet and Clank I played was A Crack in Time. That game was not nearly as hard as some of these have been, and A Crack in Time had one really difficult part that took me like 20 tries, I remember, but that was only that one part, and it was really weird. Anyway, so here are 2 vendors, your ammo and your armor vendor. So I'm not going to show the screen because I spent some time on it, but anyway, once you open up the armor vendor, you can buy armor, and you can of course return to your ship to come back to buy armor if you need it. So this is where I died a bunch, and when you walk on down, first you're going to have these enemies coming out of the roof, and the best way, or out of the side. Now the best way to deal with these guys is just to shoot them with something that knocks them back, like this blitz gun, and that'll let them fall to their deaths. And you want to shoot them as quick as you can and actually try to shoot them. Now that guy I didn't shoot, but I didn't really want to go back to deal with him, so I just kind of forgot about him. And then that guy you can also knock off with the Lancer. And this is the part where it gets a little bit tricky, because the enemies like to take forever to die, and they also don't like to spawn. So I used the mini turret, and as you can see there, I've never actually used this hardly ever at all. It has like no health it has no upgrade points whatsoever. The bar is empty. And when you throw the mini turret down, it's pretty useful. It doesn't really last quite long enough, and it's really easy to kill. I'm sure the upgraded one is better, but I don't know. The mini turret it's hard to upgrade because people kill it so quick, and it takes forever to get its level up on its own. So I don't know, but I tried my best to use it to take out a bunch of the enemies down there, and that's not really the issue though. The enemies that are the issue are the ones on the other side. Now there is cover here, and I am going to use the sniper, which I don't really like it too much, but I am going to use it here. And I don't really like it because these guys take 2 hits to die, so you only get to kill about 4 enemies, and for some reason that guy actually took 3, well maybe they take 3 hits to die, but the point is you only have 8 ammo, and this weapon, which is supposed to be really good for long range, is not so good for long range because you don't have enough ammo to actually kill the guys. So now I'm down to 3 ammo, and I think that's almost all the guys, so here's the last one, and I think there's still a few more guys down there I'm going to try to pick off. And that guy luckily did die too, and then instead of just dropping down, you have to go all curvy onto this stupid Magna Boot place. And then I didn't realize I'd run out of ammo so quick, so I'm like, oh great, okay, Heavy Lancer, do me good, and this is the final guy in this area, so that is extremely awesome because it doesn't really get any easier from this point on. And I also died a couple of times at the part after this, so I think this and then a later level were probably the most difficult in this game, and that's kind of saying something because there are a lot of levels here. Anyway, just pick up all the health that is here in the middle, and of course the ammo, because you probably used a bunch of it. And it kind of bothers me with the ammo because I'm going to get pulse rifle and mini turret ammo, and I never really use those that much, and I kind of wish it would give me ammo for the guns I use all the time, but it seems to give you ammo for some of the most recently used weapons. So then switch back to your Multistar or whatever your favorite weapon is. I feel like the Multistar is just the best for what we're doing here. And we're going to be doing even more killing, so as you can see, we'll need to swing shot on over to the other side, but first there's going to be enemies to deal with. And these first ones aren't a big deal, just kind of shoot at them and try your best to hit them if you can. If you can't aim onto them even with the Multistar, sometimes just shooting the Multistar in their direction will still let you kill things. And I'm still actually hitting guys all the way in the background there. You can see them walking on that big swirly platform. The Multistar went and activated a few of those guys, so now they're coming over and shooting at me. And those are the guys that kept knocking me off earlier, so it's kind of good to get rid of them now, but obviously if they're too far away, it's really hard to aim at them, so you need to swing shot on over, use the cover here, and try to blast them all off. So because they're kind of upside down, they're pretty easy to knock off entirely, and you'll want to do that again with these guys. Don't try to fight them on that swirly platform, it's just a mess, it's really hard. Just try to get them to be lured over to you, and then you should be able to shoot them off the platform, no problem. So then when you walk on over here, you'll see the elevator there, and of course a couple of boxes, so we'll just want to destroy the boxes and then jump onto the elevator. And then, because of the appropriately placed cover, we will have to fight even more enemies. And these guys I found easiest just to blast the HK gun at them and got my health back up, so that was pretty nice. And then a few more guys that need to be taken care of, and then we can walk on over. And this probably was one of the easier parts, but again, you want to make sure you manage your ammo, because it's always good to have some ammo on really strong guns, just in case you need it in an emergency. And then we're going to have to deal with this stupid side of the building yet again. Now if you notice, there's no continue point up to this point, so if you die you go all the way back to that armor vendor, and that's why this level was giving me so many problems. It's just really bad, and especially with the way that these platforms open up here on the side, it's kind of hard to try to get rid of these guys, so I decided I'm going to use the pulse rifle again. Try to get rid of him. It looks like that knocked him off, although I can't really tell. And then I'm going to try to inch my way over here, and if your reticule flashes like that, then that means it is a guaranteed hit, so that's good to know. And again, I'm not sure if that guy's gone. It looks like he is. And there's going to be even more enemies down here. I'm trying to activate them before I go on down there, and there's one of them, and that knocked him off. At least I guess that knocked one of them off. Maybe there were two there. That's kind of annoying. And then I just really couldn't get to the other guys with a shotgun, so I switched back to the blade, and I was trying to aim onto them, but it didn't let me, so I just kind of fired it in their general direction, and it seemed to do pretty good. But you want to make sure that you fire it when you're not jumping, otherwise it'll just go right past them. And I still managed to take damage anyway, because now we're running into enemies that shoot multiple bursts of that gun instead of just one. And then two more are going to be on this platform here, and I think I'm going to be switching on over to the mini turret glove. For some reason I thought this would help, and I guess if you kind of put that in the middle, maybe it'll shoot at them a little bit. And I think I do this a few times. Yeah, I knocked one of those guys off, and then inched a little bit more forward so I could get the other guy, knocked him off, and that actually worked better than I remember it working, so that's cool. Then you can walk on into here, and there'll be more kind of upside downness you need to do, but that'll be it for the level. Thank goodness.
What the? This isn't Fizzwidget.
Would you like a free proto-pet sample? Available today.
Where is he?
Freeze, knuckleheads!
Oh, no.
The two of yous are under arrest for attempting to bump off Mr. Fizzwidget.
But this isn't...
Save it, Fuzzy. You're not fooling anyone. You and your metal buddy just earned yourselves a trip to our new prison. Watch this.
Thugs for Less Prison would like to wish you a happy incarceration. After a poolside orientation, all new inmates will meet one-on-one with a galactic nutritionist. This professional will ensure that you're eating a species-appropriate diet for your entire stay. Next, come check out our fitness spa with your personal trainer. Remember, a prison term can feel twice as long if you're not in proper shape. And for those times when you're just feeling blue, come talk it out with one of our 10 full-time life coaches. They'll help you find your smile again. Thugs for Less Prison. Experience the maximum in security.
What'd you think of that?
That didn't seem so bad. I assume you have provisions for vegetarians.
Of course. Vegan or fruit. Wait a minute. You, take them away. And impound their ship, too.
sorry. I have thoroughly analyzed our surroundings, and I'm afraid that there is absolutely no means of escape. Except that
Someone's got a girlfriend.
I will be right back.
Don't, stop for anything along the way.